Okay, students, so now we're here and we're in Unit 4, which is transformation and congruency, all right? And this transformation part is probably my favorite unit out of all the units in all seriousness. This is when we're going to be sliding things, flipping them around, spinning them, all this kinds of cool stuff, all right? So, and also this is the type of math they use to create your favorite movies such as Toy Story, all right? I remember I was like 5 when Toy Story 1 came out. Thought they should have stopped at Toy Story 3, but they decided to make a Toy Story 4, which I didn't really care for. Anyways, let's focus on things. So we have transformations and congruence, all right? So here's some punchlines, all right? This first page is going to be some punchlines. Then a lot of it's going to be in your iBook, all right? So rigid transformations, all right? All right? They preserve side length and angle measure. All right. So what are those exactly and what does that mean? Well, there's 3 transformations we're going to focus on right now. It's translation, reflection, and rotation. And I'm pretty sure you guys have done a lot of this stuff in previous math classes, all right? And you can think of translation like a slide. It's like when you're sliding something. Reflection is when you're flipping. And a rotation is a spin. All right? So let's draw an example here. I'm just going to draw some triangles. All right? Okay, call that triangle A, B, C. And then I'm going to copy and paste it. Copy, paste, and I'm not going to change the size of it all. I'm going to put it down here a little bit though. Okay? Triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. Why did I do that? What does that mean? Okay? Before we talk about that, there's a lot of dense information going on right now. I love it, all right? Angle measures are the same. So angle A and A prime are the same. B and B prime are the same. Lastly, C and C prime are the same. Next is side lengths are the same. So side AB is the same length as side A prime, B prime. Now that's how all these parts are congruent. So corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay? So a lot of things going on right now. All right? So, pre-image and image. All right? Pre-image is before the transformation. So it's what you start with. And in this particular case, it's triangle A, B, C. Image is after transformation. So this is just some terminology we're going to be using throughout the unit. After transformation. And in this particular case, it'd be triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. All right? And this is called prime notation. All right? So that, since the prime tells me that that's after the transformation. And we can even get double primes, triple primes, so on and so forth. All right? So that's how you tell which one's which. Before transformation is triangle ABC. After transformation, triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. And then the congruency statement, it's kind of self-explanatory. You're stating things are congruent. I'm going to say triangle A, B, C is congruent to triangle A prime, B prime, C prime. And something that's quite obvious right now is the order is important. Order is important. Okay. What do I mean by that? A was first, so A prime must be first. B was in the middle, so B prime must be, so on and so forth. All right? You got to match the corresponding parts. All right? And so what is, like another example, or to emphasize, like I can say anything. I say triangle BAC, but since that's the order now, So the first order doesn't matter, but it dictates the second order. Triangle B prime, C prime, A prime, or B prime, A prime, C prime. Cool. All right. So here's some real world transformations before we start. Translations, reflections, and rotation. All right. Can you identify transformations in the real world? Think about which transformation, translations, rotation, reflections, or dilation. So what's a dilation? It's when you make something so this is something we're not going to go in great depth. It gets big or small. All right, that's a non-rigid transformation, but we can still talk about it just briefly. All right, so this is actually your iBook, what I stole this out of, but I wanted to talk about it. Is this right here, this is a butterfly or a moth. This is an ugly butterfly, but this would have a reflection. All right, we can reflect the butterfly over that line and it would look the same. Here's a snowflake, okay? So realize I can reflect the snowflake over this line. In fact, there's a lot of lines. There's just a couple of them. I could even do that one right there. All right, I can reflect or even think about it from this point to that point. If I just rotated this much, the snowflake would still look the same. So this one would be reflect or rotate. This next one right here, this one's a little tricky, but these leaves are supposed to be the same each and every time. So you're just translating, you're just moving the leaves. So it's a translation. Also, since they're getting a little smaller, you could say dilation. Because look how they're getting, this one's way smaller. So a dilation is when you make something bigger or smaller. And if it was a perfect, not this image, but if you pulled it out and made it straight, I'm sure you could reflect it over that line. So we'll even put reflection. It's not a perfect example of reflection, but it's still technically a reflection if the whatever kind of leaf that is or tree was pulled straight. These puzzle pieces are being rotated. I'm spinning them around. All right, so that's rotation. Similar with this bike wheel. That's how you make a bike go, is you rotate, you spin. All right, and this next one is technically called a glide reflection, but we haven't learned that yet. These paw prints are translating forward, but I'm technically also reflecting them over this line right here, reflection. All right, think about it, I could translate it, then reflect. Translate, then reflect, so on and so forth. Anyways, all right, so that's a little crash course in transformation and congruence. Now you need to go to your iBook and read the notes. All right, it tells you which page to go, what to do, so on and so forth, and then there's some follow-up questions. All right.